A few days ago, we posted a video ranking the 10 best horror games of 2024 and highlighting the specific titles that really made it memorable before we say goodbye once and for all. But I think it's time to move on and focus on the future, because as you guys know, horror gaming is always full of surprises, and the terrifying journeys that we can go through are endless. However, for some reason, the map of horror games in 2025 is kind of ambiguous and unclear for many people, including me personally. I mean, in 2023, we had a very clear idea about the good games that we should expect, like Resident Evil 4 and Alan Wake 2. And in 2024, we knew that Silent Hill 2 would make an appearance. But for 2025, things are a little bit different because we didn't hear about many specific titles being highlighted as possible releases in it. This is why I felt even more motivated to put this video together, because I was curious myself to dig deep and understand which horror games I should expect to play this year. As a result, I decided to compose a list of notable horror games that we might come across in 2025. And this includes both indie and AAA titles in order to keep it balanced, and also because the indie market is pretty much the dominant one in the genre for the last decade. So without further ado, let's begin. Dying Light games are among the most exciting and enjoyable in the zombie world. And the fact that a new one is coming in 2025 makes me incredibly hyped. The narrative in The Beast unfolds 13 years after the events of the original game, and it takes place in the post-apocalyptic Castor Woods, which is a former tourist destination. The protagonist, Crane, endured over a decade of captivity and experimentation, so he decides to escape in order to seek retribution against his captors. But as he navigates this new environment, he discovers that more is at stake than mere revenge, and the dangers waiting for him are way more than he thought. The game is expected to emphasize survival mechanics, parkour movement, and flexible day-night cycles, but also introduce new abilities for Crane resulting from the experiments he endured. So you can anticipate to have even cooler abilities in this game than the previous entries. Furthermore, it's said that it will take you 18 hours to finish the story, and I honestly can't wait to dive into it when it hopefully releases in the summer of 2025.
You're born, you grow up, you die, and... Is that all? No. It's a constant struggle between good and evil.
This is a game that I didn't even know existed, but once I found out about it, I became completely interested in what it really has in store for us. The story is about Alan Rebels, a paranormal investigator who travels to the mysterious island of Godstone to uncover the truth behind his father's sudden disappearance. Using his mystical pendulum, Alan can interact with the environment and the supernatural entities that inhabit the island. I'm pretty sure you know exactly where this is going, because if you played games like The Dark Occult before, then you realize what's waiting for you. The experience here focuses on survival elements, including tense exploration, stealth mechanics, and intricate puzzles that require knowledge of occult arts. However, The Occultist boasts next-generation graphics designed to deliver an immersive horror journey that's suitable for 2025, which means you should expect to encounter memorable adversaries and navigate a narrative rich with supernatural intrigue. This franchise doesn't even need an introduction, because if you follow this channel, then you obviously know very well what Little Nightmares is all about. However, this new installment seems like it will push the creativity even further. Serving as a standalone sequel to the previous entries in the series, the game introduces two new protagonists, Low and Alone, who navigate through an eerie world called the Nowhere, and their ultimate mission is striving to escape its nightmarish realms. A notable addition to this installment is the introduction of online co-op gameplay, allowing you to collaborate with your friends in controlling Low and Alone and use their unique, amazing abilities in a complementary way. As usual, the journey is full of puzzle solving and platforming elements, but the answer is always teamwork, because every place here is complex, and you need some help to figure it out. This is one of the most unique games on the list, because it's probably the craziest 2D zombie game you can play anytime soon, and maybe ever. The setting here is Texas in the 1980s, during a zombie outbreak, where you guide a group of survivors through Walton City, seeking refuge and safety. The main goal is scavenging, crafting, and strategic planning to ensure the group's survival. And please remember the last part, because it's basically the catch in the experience. Ensuring the survival of your friends is so necessary, and that's why you need to carefully make crucial decisions and find important items in order to keep them safe.
With each day, we become more desperate. And we're forced to make unspeakable choices.
It's very similar to State of Decay, but from a special 2D perspective, and also an amazing combat system. And speaking of combat, oh boy, it is something to be excited for in every way. The gunshots and melee weapons feel like they have a satisfying sound and impact, which intensifies the confrontations with zombies. So yeah, this is probably among the most promising titles of 2025.
Salah saya apa? Bukan saya yang pertama kali gali ini semua. Harusnya saya bisa lebih hati-hati.
I'm really so happy that I found this game while making this video, because it seriously looks like something we all should keep an eye on in the next months. This gorgeous looking horror game is from an indie studio in Indonesia, and it revolves around a young woman named Agni, an investigator from a covert Indonesian police unit who defies orders to explore Desa Purba, which is a remote village shrouded in mystery. The narrative centers on Agni's unauthorized investigation, which quickly descends into a harrowing ordeal, challenging her understanding of reality.
Lila, Kakni seneng kan kalau aku pergi?
From the footage we have so far, the gameplay will involve spooky exploration, because you must navigate the eerie village to uncover its secrets, while confronting some terrifying threats at the same time. Developers also say that resource management is crucial, because you'll have to decide between confrontation and evasion in intense combat situations. Besides that, you can expect some intense psychological horror, while the woman is confronting her inner demons, including guilt and unresolved trauma throughout her journey. I'm very excited for this, because I'm in love with Asian horror, and I know for sure that I would enjoy going through an experience influenced by Indonesian culture.
Kakni, Kak, ini Lila, Kak. Ayo pulang. Lila mau pulang.
Water's flooding in! Oh my god!
Shoot it!
away from the water! They come from the water!
It's been a while since I played a good first-person shooter horror game, and hopefully Deepest Fear is the experience that will change that. The initial cool element here is the environment, which is a retro-futuristic underwater location. You will find yourself navigating a submerged space filled with lurking monsters, where every drop of water can conceal a threat. The game draws inspiration from titles like System Shock, offering a narrative-driven experience with a focus on atmosphere and strategic gunplay, meaning that you need to think and hide beside shooting. But as you delve deeper into the ocean's depths, you'll start discovering secrets that could jeopardize humanity's future in a very sophisticated narrative. However, looking at the gameplay, this is not a journey of action alone. There's also a strong element of psychological horror, scary darkness, and chilling soundscapes here and there. This seems promising to me, and I'm definitely going to keep an eye on future updates.
My God, they're everywhere!
Similar to the previous game, this one is also mainly about an environment that has a lot to do with water and sinking under it. Hence the name, The Sinking City. We don't have gameplay footage for this sequel yet, but if you know the original game, you clearly have an idea that it's basically an experience about investigation similar to Call of Cthulhu, where the vibe seems insanely close to something from H.P. Lovecraft. It is expected to be a semi-open world survival game with more focus on combat than the original. You will have to go through an increasingly flooded city, with water levels altering locations as the game progresses. But as usual, you can be confident that there will be huge emphasis on investigative exploration, which includes interrogating different characters and reading so many documents. I don't know if the final game will be good or not, but this is a potentially notable release for sure. To be honest, when this game was revealed a few years ago, I thought that it was too good to be true, and it couldn't be a real project being made. However, I recently changed my mind when Behavior Interactive entered the chat and became an official partner working on the game. And for those who don't know, Behavior Interactive are the same guys behind Dead by Daylight. Anyway, I don't need to talk much about this game because the insanely beautiful footage speaks for itself, showcasing a fascinating world in an alternate 14th century. You can either play solo or with up to 3 others, and you need to navigate a war-torn landscape plagued by the Blight, which is a deadly affliction that turns humans into monstrous creatures. The environment is incredibly well designed, and there's everything you can anticipate in a survival experience, including resource management and stealth. We don't know when exactly it will see the light, but it's possible that 2025 might be the year.
The blood in my body recoils before it. Blood is alive and wants to hide away and cover itself up from the fearful cold.
This is another surprising game that showed up from nowhere, but seriously looks very, very interesting. We still don't know much about it, but the name can give you an idea on the main concept, which is the coldness and harsh environment. In the story, you assume the role of Hannah, a young woman stuck in a sudden, unnatural blizzard while searching for her missing sister. The location seems extremely devastated with ice and tough weather. But that's not your only problem, because you will also face snow-covered nightmares that emerge from the storm. The Steam page mentions that survival depends not only on confronting these creatures, but also on navigating the brutal environmental challenges posed by the severe weather conditions. It also says that you can utilize melee weapons and firearms to defend yourself against the supernatural threats, meaning that this is a survival experience to the core, besides the psychological struggle. I'm very excited about this because if you know me personally, you'll understand that I'm always in love with horror games where the atmosphere is cloudy, cold, and so lonely.
Freezing was not so bad as people thought. There were worse ways to die. There are worse ways to die.
Directive 8020 is a new game from the Dark Pictures series, but it's designed to be more like games such as Dead Space and the Callisto Protocol. The location is a sci-fi universe, and the story is about the crew of a colony ship called Cassiopeia, which crash lands on a planet named Tau Ceti F, which is located 12 light-years from Earth. The crew's mission to find a new home for humanity takes a perilous turn as they encounter an alien organism capable of mimicking its prey, leading to a tense narrative where trust becomes a central theme.
I designed this mission.
To make it simple for you, this means that this bizarre organism can shape itself to look exactly like your friends, your crew members, and even yourself. However, just like all the Dark Pictures games, your choices here significantly influence the storyline, relationships, and potential survival of characters. You can also choose to play with your friends in a multiplayer mode, and hopefully this will happen very soon because the game is confirmed to be a 2025 release.
I did everything right. I did everything right.
After the success of Silent Hill 2 Remake, many people started wondering what Bloober Team is cooking for us next. And lucky for us, the answer came fast enough with Chronos: The New Dawn. This ambiguous game is a third-person survival experience set in a grim world where Eastern European brutalism meets retro-futurist technology. Players assume the role of a character called Traveler, like literally, and he's an agent with a very mysterious history. The mission involves scouring the wastelands of a post-apocalyptic future to locate time rifts that transport people back to Poland in 1980s. You need to find key individuals from the past who perished during a cataclysmic event known as the Change. And using a device called the Harvester, you can extract these individuals' essences and bring them into the future. For me, it seems like it has a similar concept to Soma, where the past, the present, and the future intertwine in a terrifying way to create a world that looks real, but you can never be sure. Anyway, the game is set to release this year, and I can't wait to see if Bloober Team really became a top studio in the genre, or if Silent Hill 2 was just an isolated experience. Horror games with fixed camera angles and classic vibes are back with a very strong presence in the recent years. And Tormented Souls 2 is among the most interesting examples in 2025. Once again, you play as Caroline Walker, a woman who embarks on a harrowing journey through eerie monasteries and other nightmarish locations to rescue her haunted sister. The sequel stays true to its survival horror roots, offering a blend of exploration, puzzle solving, and combat against terrifying creatures using makeshift weapons. However, this time, the visuals seem even more oppressive, and the atmosphere feels extra disturbing with some scenes that might shake you in certain areas. You should also be prepared to walk through darkness using a weak flashlight, while the silence around you can be hiding something you don't expect. This reminds me a lot of Song of Horror, which is a very underrated horror game that uses this exact same style. Anyway, the good news is that we have a specific release date for this one, and it's April 24th, 2025. To be honest, I had to add this one to the list because I wish to see it come out this year, even though I'm not really sure about it. For those who don't know, Silent Hill F is planned to be the next entry in the series, meaning that it's the new big Silent Hill game after Downpour, which came out back in 2012. It's so unique because the events here take place in rural Japan in the 1960s, diverging from the traditional American town of Silent Hill. The game explores a new cultural backdrop while maintaining the psychological horror elements that define the series. And the narrative is expected to delve into themes resonant with Japanese folklore and societal issues of the era. The studio currently working on the game is Neobards Entertainment, the same developers behind Resident Evil Resistance. Their mission is really way harder than remaking Silent Hill 2, because this time they have to come up with a new atmosphere in a new story, while trying to match the classic Silent Hill formula at the same time. We don't have gameplay or a release date yet, but there's a decent chance that 2025 can be the year for it, just like the remake made a surprising release in 2024. These were the main horror games that I wanted to showcase today, and I intentionally skipped a few titles because I'm not really sure about their future. A notable example is the infamous game Ill, which had a new trailer recently. I already talked about it in multiple videos before, and I explained I genuinely don't believe it's a real game in the first place. None of the gameplay footage makes any sense, and the developers seem very mysterious about their work. Another game is Routine, which basically has been around for the last 13 years. It had multiple trailers and some gameplay videos, but its fate is completely ambiguous. I do believe it's a real project, but I have a feeling the developers are having a hard time finishing it. We also have Reanimal, and it seriously looks like Little Nightmares 3 is up for some serious competition, because this one looks insanely enticing, and even the visuals are more creepy for me. The reason I didn't add it to the list is because it's not clear that it will be a 2025 release. Anyway guys, this is all for today. Give me a like if you enjoyed the video and let me know in the comments about certain games you think I should talk about in the future. See you next time.
Mau minta tolong sama udah nggak bisa. Udah nggak bisa.